everyone. Welcome to the Flight of the Next podcast. My name is Denise. We have Holly in the house, and we have Alex. So set the scene. Where are you guys? Holly?
I'm on Gadigal Land in Sydney. I'm at
Um,
work. This is my lunch break.
Where are
I'm
you,
in
Alex?
Whanganu Wellington.
Nice. Your lighting is quite good today, Alex. You're looking like a little, angel cherub.
Yeah, no, it's a sunny day.
It's
23,
good.
24 degrees. Probably pales in
Yeah.
comparison to Australia, but it's good for here.
Yeah. I'm in Napier, and it's interestingly enough not very sunny. And behind me, I don't know if it's going to be blurred in the final thing, but I have an iron. Something I never ever use. But it's going to keep me company during this podcast. I was going to take it down, but then I'd have to put it back up. And I was like, we'll keep the iron.
It might have an opinion on the Riley Foster red card, which we'll get to.
Yeah, we'll have to ask the iron. All right, so let's start out by talking about the women. I mean, that was a fun one. It was in Poirua, finally a home match, something to cheer. Alex, you were there. Tell us more about the atmosphere.
It was great. It was a great atmosphere. Porirua Park, I don't think it really differs that much in terms of the atmosphere because the stand kind of gets packed out first, and then people that overflow flow onto the banks and stuff. And most of the atmosphere comes from the stand, so you can't really tell the difference between, a 2,000 crowd or a 1,200 crowd, or just a bit above that, which it was today. But yeah, good atmosphere. Yellow Fever was in fine voice.
Cool.
They always are.
Nice. Yeah. I saw a few bellies, but we'll get into that later. Hairy bellies, no.
That's right. We don't body shame on this podcast.
How did that tradition begin? Does anyone ever know anything about that history? No, I don't know either.
No
All
idea.
right, well, we'll have to ask someone how at the 80th minute it's the 80th minute, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll investigate that some other time. So just a little recap of the match. It started out, I would say, in the Knicks' favor, but fairly, nothing crazy Knicks' favor, but you could tell, the Knicks were on fire. But at the 25th minute mark, there was a moment where Canberra star Michelle Heyman looked like she could have scored. There was a little ball that went right out in front of her, and Riley Foster, switched on and came out and stopped it. And that was like a thank God moment, because when you get down by a goal, it's psychologically, the stats aren't, both psychologically and statistically, it's not in your favor.
Then again, I mean, it's psychologically and statistically, it hasn't been in our favor when we go into the halftime break 1-0 up. So I was a little bit worried. We had one goal, and I thought, I really hope that we're going to see this through, which we did. I felt a little bit frustrated in the first half because it felt like nobody wanted to shoot. It was driving me crazy. It was all these tiny little passes, like slick little passes around the top of the box that eventually will just be intercepted or not work out.
Yep.
Honestly, just like screaming at the screen for someone to actually just shoot.
Well, there was a moment, and I'm going to just go through this a little bit. In the 27th minute, there was a corner kick, and I really thought the Knicks had, there was a lot of points where I was like, the Knicks scored. It was a corner kick, and Rebecca Lake went up for it, headed it, and it sort of ricocheted off a Canberra player, and it went into the goal. And I was like, yes, we scored, and it was called off. Kate Taylor was sort of muscling the goalkeeper. And it was kind of niggly, because the kind of point. You put a big body in front of the goalkeeper and hope the goalkeeper will kind of run into them and sort of make it almost like a basketball screen. It looked like that was part of the plan, but it was called back. Alex, could you see anything, or what was that like? I mean, everyone was celebrating.
I didn't see anything in real time. It's only after I watched the replay that I saw what it was for. But I can't really see that much in it. There's challenges in and around the goalkeeper all the time. I reckon goalkeepers are far too protected in the modern game. I think it should have been a goal. Just run of the mill corner stuff, really.
Yeah, it looks more like Chloe Lincoln was out of position and Kate just stood her ground.
Yeah.
And then Chloe Lincoln went to ground. Again, we will talk about Canberra players going to ground too early. I thought that was a pity. There's also another point at which, that might have been in the second half, where the ball seems to have crossed the line but wasn't called as having crossed the line. And it's really hard to tell with the angles that you get. But someone did a screenshot and said, look, if you look at, use the shadows and you see that the shadow of the post is immediately in line with the actual goal line, and you can see the shadow of the ball well within that. I don't feel as angry at Lighthouse or something for sometimes missing those close ones. They've got a lot on their plate when the ball is in front of goal. But that was a pity. That potentially could have been another goal.
Yeah, that was in the second half, and that was Speckmeyer's nail in the coffin had it gone in, and it was I was like, that's a goal. But it was really impossible to tell. I mean, without that VAR technology and really seeing if the entire ball had crossed. But I mean, the defender was pretty far in and kicking it away, and my amateur glance said that ball was crossed totally the line, but I can see where people might not know. Let's talk about the goals, though. There was the first goal was really beautiful. It was in the 42nd minute, and Cox kind of went through some players, came up towards the center from sort of the side, and then just did one of those through balls, but not a through ball that goes right to the keeper. It almost looked like it had backspin or something on it, and it was a through ball presented right there for Speckmeyer in the highest percentage area you can almost get on the field, and she just nailed it.
It's one of those ones where the through ball is played, and initially, on the size of the broadcast, you can see there's no one running for that. What a waste! But because Speckmeyer had made this really flat run across the front, all of a sudden she was there, and then she did that really nice thing where instead of hooking it to the far post, she just sort of opened up her body a bit and sort of a little bit like how Emma Main scored her goal against Mariners, just a little bit of a curve, just around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really satisfying to watch.
Yeah, no, really, really tidy finish. And, for all of the criticism that Mariana Speckmeyer has received in recent times for, butchering some chances, it's a really, really tidy finish. She opens up her body really well. The goalkeeper makes herself big. It's hard to find, that space. You could have wanted to go far post, and then the goalkeeper covers far post, and then you got to adjust to go near post. And yeah, it's a striker's finish.
Yeah. That was gorgeous. And then, we go to the halftime. We're breathing. We're trying to get, through this match. In general, you think home, you're up, things are going to be good. Crossing your fingers. I mean, what were you thinking at halftime?
I was actually pretty confident, to be honest. Canberra, I don't know, first half, they didn't have any big chances, no shots on target. We were completely dominating the game. They only had one shot on target in the second half as well. I was pretty confident that we were going to win the game, especially with our home form.
Yeah.
We definitely needed another goal. I felt like 1-0 wouldn't be enough. And we have dropped a lot of games to losses from scoring and being 1-0 up. So that extra goal was, and how good is it? I mean, with Mariana scoring now, because she missed a lot of very good chances, but like scoring is a confidence thing often. So hopefully she's going to be on fire, and it's actually got to the point where she might actually wind up in the golden boot running.
Wouldn't that be good?
If she keeps scoring, yeah, that would be good, but she doesn't need to keep scoring.
Let's just review that goal. It was the 51st minute, and it was a cross, a corner from Hope Breslin, who I want to do a shout out to because she actually had a good match, and she did a lot of duty at the corner kicks, and she put in some really good ones. I have to say they were challenging. That one was pretty close to the goal. But yeah, I think both Cox and Speckmeyer went up for it. And I don't know if it was planned that Speckmeyer take it, or if they just both up there and whoever gets ahead on it gets ahead on it. I suspect the latter. But she just nailed it in from her head and nailed it in straight down. No like floater off the top or whatever. I think I remember it going down, but I do remember it going straight in. So that was really a thing of beauty.
Yeah, we were completely on fire with the corners this game. You know, if we count the 2 disallowed goals, we scored 3 goals from corners, which is really, really impressive. You know, that'll win you a lot of games just from the corners alone. And Foster was out. Mickey Foster was out for this game. So it's good to know that we've got some other good corner takers. You know, Hope Brisson on the left foot, Macy Fraser on the right.
Exactly. I think Fraser did a nice one. I mean, she again did the one that looked like it. Speckmeyer put it in, and it looked like it crossed the line. So that was from her side. All right, so you're ready to talk about the wild stuff? Let's talk about it. 65th minute. All right, so. Who wants to describe it a little bit more? Can't remember what was going on. Was it how it all started? Must have been a corner kick, right?
It was either a corner or a free kick.
Yeah,
I think it was a corner.
Was it a corner? Yeah, and so everyone's amped. It's a corner.
And there's jostling. There's always jostling, and the refs often have to stop and like wave people over and give them a chat. And usually in the men's game, it's like they might make the little VAR symbol or something like that and be like, "You're being watched," right? Unfortunately, you only get the talking to in the women's game because you can't threaten them with the VAR calling it back. There's jostling. I think Foster does use. It doesn't seem like it's like the sharp part of her elbow, but she uses her elbow to push her away. There's so little in it that it's laughable. Nobody seemed to know what it was for. I think even if you do say, well, she did use her elbow, the way that the Sophia Christopherson, rest in peace, obviously she's died from that terrible injury. So we are thinking of her and her loved ones at this time, and I hope that Canberra in their next game can wear those little black armbands that they do when they've lost a player. Or a minute's silence when you stand around the centre circle, and you do the minute's silence. I think that would be the appropriate action for Canberra United to take to memorialise this player who gives it all for the team, including her worst dramatics. Yeah, so she's been touched, and then she stands there for a few seconds, and then she goes and she softly lies down, clutching her stomach, and then she looks at the ref. You can see she's down, and then she just like tilts her head up to see if the ref's
I mean, I think giggle fit is the appropriate response to all this days later. Keep going. Keep going. You're doing so well, Holly.
Look, the consensus from like commentators and stuff has seemed to be that this should not have been a red card. They did. So it was going to be appealed by the club. It's really hard to get a red card overturned, like really hard to get a red card overturned. What they did was they downgraded it from violent conduct to unsporting
Unsporting, yeah.
behaviour. Unsporting
Serious
behaviour.
unsporting behaviour, I think.
So that's why
Gotta
it's
add that serious
been
in.
what should have been regularly a 2-match ban is now a 1-match ban. Maybe there's questions about the way that things are chalked off or not chalked off. I mean, there was a red card to Holly McQueen for a dog so foul for Brisbane Roar against whoever it was in the Unite round, and that was chalked off. So she was given a red for a dog so tackle, and that got chalked off. But obviously, that's not been possible. And I think, like, if the ref had given a yellow card, I probably wouldn't have complained. It's done. It is what it is.
I would have complained, even if it was just a penalty. I don't think there's anything in that. Like, hats off to the ref for spotting it, because you gotta you gotta work to see something like that. I watched the replay probably 3 times. It took me 4 or 5 times to actually see the foul. Yep. I don't. There's completely nothing in it. It's just normal play.
Yeah, but it did have consequences, didn't it? I mean, she's not going to play for the next match, and she had to leave. And she didn't want to leave. That was pretty funny. She's like, "What did I do? I'm just going to walk around and high five everyone."
Yeah,
I'm surprised that
after she went off the pitch, she went into the changing rooms, changed, and then she came back into the stands and tried to ask Piney what it was for, because she just had no idea.
Wow. That's interesting. So she walked right into the stands? She was like...
Yeah. Well, all the players sit just below the commentary booth. And she was
so she walked to the commentator in the middle of the match to ask the commentator who was commentating at that time what happened.
Yeah, because she just had no idea.
I was a little bit surprised that the ref didn't hurry her off the field a little bit. There's always going to be a delay when you change keepers, because they, there is a little bit of a delay that's accepted there. But she kind of just stood off and didn't maybe it was an inexperienced thing. This was her first time as a centre ref.
It's a hell of a call.
I mean, look, it is a hell of a call. But I was surprised she didn't hurry Riley off, because it took a really long time for Riley to leave.
She probably knew that it wasn't actually a red card, and she was just feeling a bit bad about it, a bit guilty.
What do you think?
I don't know. We don't like to criticize refs too much, because I like to be understanding of how difficult that is.
Yeah. Because she got out the yellow card originally as well, and then she got out the yellow card. Everyone thought it was going to be a yellow card, and then she pulls out the red card and does nothing with the yellow card. So it was a bit interesting.
I don't know whether it was in the same pocket. Usually they have them in different pockets. So you might have your top pocket as red, but if you've got them both in the same pocket, she might have pulled both out for that.
I think usually yellow card's up the top and red's down the bottom.
So, but maybe she decided. It's so hard to make those decisions in that moment, and the stakes are really high. So again, I don't like to be too critical of refs, but this was, to me, a pretty bad call.
Yeah, so
we talk about the penalty.
Took a walk in the park. Had a blast. I mean, high-fived everyone. I mean, Bree Edwards was getting ready. Or, was she? Like Alex said. Again, were you watching
As soon as the red card brandished, I saw Bree absolutely jump up. Like the second the red card was brandished, she jumped up from the bench and started warming up. Like she was on a mission.
Yeah. Chick is on a mission in general. She's, she is, someone who wants to play. She is, this year has made it onto the Ferns. She is not shy about, in a good way, wanting to be out there. So, Alex, you want to take it from here? How about you do the play-by-play from what happened?
For the penalty, yeah. Well, I guess she kind of joins the field. The ref actually puts up, when they're subbing Bree on, puts up number 1, as in Riley Foster's getting subbed off. but she just got a red card, so that obviously can't happen. So that's a bit more amateurism. I wonder if it was the third official's first game as well. But anyway, eventually Brie gets subbed on for Macy Fraser, which was a bit interesting because, if we're playing with 10 women, you really kind of do want to have a full midfield because midfield is kind of like, the workhorse. But anyway, Macy was subbed off. Brie gets on the line, does a few jumps. It wasn't the best penalty. It was at saving height. It wasn't really too far to the left, and it's a good strong hand from Brie, goes out for a corner, and then from the corner she does a good punch as well.
First touch of the match, and being someone who's not been starting, like to just go out there first touch of the match and to pull that out, I imagine that the crowd felt as stoked as they sounded, and the way that the whole team just like piled on her was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think she knew she was going right. Why do I think that? Like she told some coach said go right or something right.
There's usually research done.
Yeah.
Was it Kate Taylor? I saw something. I don't know. I think it was a player. I'm not sure.
I would have thought the goalkeeper coach would tell them the research. I think Kate might have just been giving her some words of encouragement. I could be wrong, but I would imagine that the goalkeeping coach would be the one who did the research and would say, either way, it's worked, and it's worked for both teams. I mean, the conversion of penalties against the men and women collectively has been really poor.
Just
awesome.
Only one's gone in, right? And that was against Newcastle for the men.
So Rojas,
goalkeeping coaches.
What's that?
I said the goalkeeping coaches are doing awesome work.
Yeah, well, they knew Rojas was going to go the direction she went in, and Brie, held her cards on that and did it, and the team just mauled her. I love that. That was great, and she was like, yeah. She wasn't like, yeah. She was like, I'm ready. And I'll do
the post-match interview. The post-match interview is just going to be one of the great Wellington Phoenix post-match interviews of all times. It's going to be up there with like the Louis Fenton "That's Fucked," which is from a long time ago. But yeah, no, the way that she just has this wonderful section of an interview where she swears, and then there's like this absolute horror on her face because she's realised she's sworn. Absolutely, what a character! I really like Brie.
Yeah,
and I'm not so worried about not having Riley for the next game because I know Brie is more than good enough. So
yeah.
It's a curse and a blessing.
Yeah, I mean, we all want to see Brie out there as well. She did have this moment though where it was a corner later on in the match, around the 74th minute, where she goes out there and she kind of gets a little bit burnt. I don't think she got the ball at all, and she was left exposed. And we lucked out because Milivojevic, I think, went in for a shot. Missed it. Like the ball went somewhere else. Someone else took a shot, but I think her going in for a shot fouled Isabel Cox pretty bad. But the ball hit the back of the net, and for a moment we were all like, and so that was a scary moment.
It wasn't Brie's best work. She kind of got stuck in no man's land. And once you get into that position, it's hard to get back onto the goal line because there's a crowd of people in the 6-yard box.
Yep.
And I mean, you have to go back 6 or 7 games before Canberra was last kept scoreless. So that's really something to make potentially that one mistake when you're up against such an incredibly good offensive team, especially with Milivojevic and Heyman. Like, it's incredible.
They did a great job keeping the donut up there on the scoreboard. Like, it was a real feel-good game for the Knicks. There was drama. there was joy. There was the sort of underdog, coming back. There was the I don't know. It was. I think the fans really needed that, like something to sink their teeth into, and just something to talk about.
Well, our next match is away. So
Yeah.
that's going to be against Newcastle Jets. That's up in, normally they play in Newcastle. It's in Maitland, which is a little bit further away. So hopefully we get a good crowd up there. How do you
Yeah.
reckon we're going to do about the Jets? We can beat the Jets.
Oh yeah.
We beat them last time they. Wait, did we beat them last time we played them?
I think we did.
I can't remember now. I feel like we did. I think it was 2-0 at Sky Stadium. Anyway, we can
Yeah.
beat them, but again, our away form has been not great. So hopefully we can kick that.
Are you going to that, Holly?
Yes, of course.
Cool.
Yep.
Fantastic.
It'll be good.
Yep. It'll be very good. Anything else about the game? And if not, we'll talk about our exes. Cool. All right. Let's talk about our exes. Holly? Alex?
Oh, so let's see. The F3 derby was on, which the Mariners won. So that was obviously Izzy Gomez and Annabelle Martin beat Claudia Chico, and they got the F3 derby trophy. Now, the men's F3 derby trophy is actually this piece of concrete, like this bore-shaped piece of concrete from the F3. So the F3 is what used to be the name of the highway between Gosford and Newcastle. So that's why it's the F3 derby. So they had a piece of concrete, and then the wanted something for the women. Obviously, now that the Mariners have a women's team back, it is a piece of guardrail, which I think is just, it's so unique. I absolutely love it. So Mariners taking that out on aggregate.
Cool.
How good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good having trophies. This was the Capital Clash. Is there a trophy for that one? Or there's another one? It's like Porirua. There's one
the
team that
Sister
we compete.
Cities Cup.
That's
There's
the
a
one.
Sister Cities that's against Wanderers, which we currently have the trophy for.
Great.
Good.
I reckon like more kind of derbies like that are really good. Competing for a trophy, people always want to see that. Well, Phoenix don't have much silverware. Sisters Cities is probably the closest we've come. Yeah.
I mean, it's not the same as like winning something big, but it can be kind of fun, and it can be just like a small, like, I mean, literally when we won it earlier this season, it was like the first piece of silverware we'd ever had. And I know it's a small thing, but being able to like actively celebrate that was a heap of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the Western. It was against Western Sydney, and what was it? What was? I remember them.
Huge.
It was like huge.
It was massive. It was like as big as Mickey Robertson. I swear. They brought it over to us and I held it.
I'm sorry. What kind of derby was it again?
It was a trophy.
I know, but why? Like against Western Sydney, why was it like a derby?
Oh, the Sister Cities.
Oh, sisters.
Yeah, sisters. I think we should have something for the Capital Derby.
Yes, I agree.
But we have to think about what.
I think
Listeners, let us know below what you think it should be.
Yeah.
With Canberra adding a men's team, men's teams kind of kick everything off. So I reckon it's not far away.
Yeah, I'm stumped. Like the golden pen or something to sign all those bills, or like I don't know. Look, I got a stapler. If guardrail works, how about an iron? But yes, derbies are fun. So usually we don't talk about our exes who have totally left the league, but I'd like to talk about a couple of them. Who do we got? We have
Paige Satchel.
We do.
And Grace Neville.
Grace Neville, yep. So Paige and Grace are playing for the London City Lionesses, and they've done extraordinary well in the Conti Cup, and they're in the quarterfinals. So they're in like the second division, the championship, but I'm pretty sure all the other teams are in the top level, the Super League. But they've managed to um, match up against Arsenal. So that's not going to be easy. That's in a couple weeks. I think their 12th, maybe
Monday
our
12th?
13th.
Our 12th.
Yeah, February 12th. So
Yeah, that's right.
is that what it is? February? Yeah. So it's a Sunday. They play on Sunday. It's probably going to be our Monday. I don't know. I don't think they have the exact time yet. That's going to be a big thing to do coming back. Playing Arsenal. Arsenal is on fire. They have Emily Fox. They have all sorts of people who are coming back.
They have Cooney Cross. They've got a whole heap of Australian, like Matildas.
Yeah.
As well. So anyway, but it's good to see, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's great. We'll definitely keep an eye on that match. I mean, it'll probably be at some ridiculous time in the morning, but we'll let you know. All right. Anything else? All right. Let's talk about the men.
So I went. So we beat Newcastle 2-1. I went up. We had a decent crowd of Nick's supporters. Some who are local, some who had travelled from New Zealand, and most had probably travelled from Sydney, like Dino and I did. I think we might have been a little bit lucky to snatch a win. But it is what it is. We got the penalty. Rufa on fire. I remember one point a few years ago where people were saying that Alex Rufa shouldn't even be in the team, that he's not good enough. And at the moment, he's just on fire. Like, he scored 2 goals in 112 games. His first 112 games, and now in the last 3 games, he scored 3 goals. So absolutely massive. And then the Zavada goal was really nice as well. So that was a really nicely played pass and a nicely put away goal. Alex?
Yep, Zavada, it was a really great goal, actually. Sutton's kind of coming up the left, and I thought he was going to get the ball taken off him by 2 Newcastle defenders, but he kind of just shimmies his way through them. It was a bit of a, it wasn't the best challenge, but anyway, he gets past them, flicks a ball to Old. Old kind of does a wee bit of a run, then plays in a through ball to Zavada, and it was a difficult finish. Like, it wasn't the easiest finish. It was left-footed. It was kind of going across the keeper. Keeper probably could have done more, but from the chance that Oscar had, I think that's as good as a finish as you're going to get, really.
Yeah, it was really nice. And especially because that pushed us back to being in front. That happened in front of us as well. That was the end that we were down. The other thing that we were down the end for, because this was in the first half, was what really could have been a goal against us. Nico Pennington passed the ball back to Alex Paulson. And of course, Alex can't pick it up because it's a back pass, right? But he's passed it back it arrives at Alex at chest height. And then Alex has to control the ball and then try and clear it. And it's so crowded. And of course, he turns over the ball. It's a stupid back pass. He turns over the ball because he can't receive it in a way that's useful for him. And then I don't know who it was that took the shot. It might have been Grozos. Took this massive volley from outside the box that was for all money going in. But Scott Bloody Wooten had dropped back to stand on the goal line and got this header. So he headed it up and it hit the bar and went out. We could not figure out how we managed to avoid conceding that goal. That was absolutely wild.
It was a fantastic volley. From that chance, that's as good as a volley you're going to get, I reckon. It was just a bit of a shame, well, not a shame, it was a shame for Newcastle, great for us, that it was just above Wooten. I think it was, if it was to the other side, it would have been a goal, but that's a brilliant header, heads it onto the bar. that's perfect defending, really. And Scott Whitney's
It's just
been
that thing
playing
where
really well.
if your keeper is out off his line, that you drop back, someone drops back and stands on
Yeah.
the line. I mean, you don't always manage to stop stuff. It was very fortunate that it basically went straight to Scott, because honestly, if it had been like maybe 2 feet either side, there's no way he'd get his head to that. But
You know,
so that was pretty wild.
I've been that
moment.
defender on the line a few times, and I can tell you it's not as easy as it looks. You know, judging where the ball's going to go, they got the whole net to aim at, and the chances that they hit it straight at you is pretty slim, really.
I mean, that's what happened against Adelaide, where Riley had come out like to the top of the box, and then we had 2 defenders who went back to cover on the goal line, and they couldn't stop the ball from going in. So that's honestly, it was absolutely crazy that was. Who did you think was the player of the match? So I felt that was Rufer. I think he's just everywhere these days.
Yeah, Rufer had a good game. Looking at FootMob, it says Rufer was player of the match as well, 8.6 rating. He did get a yellow card though, so he's suspended for next game. So that will be a bit difficult. We've got Payne, and I know it was a poor challenge. He did not have to do that. It was in stoppage time or something as well. So we got Payne and Rufer out for next game, and you know, we're probably going to have Pennington or Mo Alte replace Payne. So I don't know what that leaves a midfield of. I guess Rufer and Alte or Pennington, whoever doesn't drop into right back, and then I guess maybe Old or something.
I really like Pennington, but he does make some really bad choices sometimes. So I'm actually really surprised he didn't get a second yellow card.
Yes, exactly. He was going at the ref and that other player.
Tackle behind, and he's the one who played the ball, that weird chest-heighted ball back to the keeper. There's a lot that I like about Nico, but honestly, he just makes some crazy mistakes sometimes. I think otherwise he was actually pretty good where he was. It seems like we played 5 at the back. Like 5 at the back.
Yep, I think so.
I don't know.
Kelly Hill dropped into centre back. It's good having a player that's kind of flexible like that, can play left back and centre back. And that means Sutton dropped into left back. Quite really rate, by the way. I think he's great going forward.
Anything else to say on the men's game? Was nowhere near as crazy as the women's game. Obviously, that was absolutely wild and all over the place.
Wild and all over the place.
Wild and all over. Chaos League.
Yes.
Yeah, look, I think we were a little bit lucky to get the win there, but we'll take it, and it gets us 2 points ahead of the second in place, so we're actually properly clear, and it's 2 wins on Melbourne Victory now as well. So even if they catch up to us on points and get equal again, we will have that extra 2 wins. So we're playing Brisbane Roar on Friday night. That's away. That's at Suncorp, probably the worst pitch in the A-League men, at least at the moment. It is. Maybe it's improved, but it has been absolutely shocking to play on, to the point where it's a wonder that there haven't been people getting injured. That's a different rant, I suppose. So no Tim Payne, no Alex Rufer.
Yep.
How do we think we're going to do? I think we should beat them. I honestly think
we should beat them 100%. You know, you speak about being lucky, but we're being consistently lucky. Like, I don't know if that's something you can talk about. Maybe like it'll even itself out eventually. You know, against Melbourne Victory, we're probably a bit lucky to get that pen. We're probably lucky to get the pen against Newcastle. Pennington was lucky not to get a second yellow. The volley was lucky that it hit Wooten, but we've also been conceding a few lucky goals. Our last 2 goals we conceded against Newcastle and against Victory. They were both pretty heavy deflections, kind of wrong-footed pulls, and you know, luck goes both ways.
And so it looks like we've signed a Costa Rican midfielder / fullback / 10. I didn't quite understand why, but anyway, he's played in the World Cup. He's got a lot of pedigree. Plays for the best team in Costa Rica, club team, I believe. And from the presser that David Dome and Sean Gill did this afternoon, it sounds like there was a decision from the owners to put some more money into the men's team to try and push us over the line to win the league this year. So that's good to know that there's like enough faith, because I mean all the owners in the league are losing money. Like none of these clubs are making money. So the fact that they've got the faith to like shell out a little bit more of their hard-earned cash because we're winning at the moment, just to see if it can get us over the line, that's really promising. We just got to get people showing up to games in Wellington.
Yep. I think it's a good signing. Chiefy looked at him last season, or I think it was pre-season the season, or maybe it was the same time last year. But we weren't able to get that across the line. There were a few leaks that said he was coming to the club then, and I think he followed the club on social media, which is a pretty telltale sign. But this time he followed a fan club on social media, which I think that's more of a telltale sign than following the actual club. I think they tell the players not to follow the club as well, because a few signings have gone leaked from that. But I think it's a good signing. If Chiefy's gone for him twice, that kind of persistence shows that he must think that he's a quality player and he'll add something to the team.
And you know what, to be honest, like it's hard to see how it's going to pan out with women's visa signings, but at least for the men consistently over the last however many seasons, we've not signed any duds. Like some have been better than others, right? Like, I mean, Uli Davia was massive. Davila was massive. But then, you've got people who maybe weren't so like massive, like Sandoval, but he was still a good player. Like there haven't been any like fucking flop visa signings, which you sometimes get in the past.
Sandoval is good. I actually really rate Sandoval. I think playing defensive midfield didn't give him any favours at all. He was a good player. He was fast. He had some good corner deliveries. It was just kind of unlucky that he didn't really make as big of an impact as we would have hoped. I think Sarsi, or Sars, however you say it.
Oh, right. Yeah, maybe Sars is more.
Yeah, he was kind of a rock. Iron gold. What's the saying? I've forgotten the saying is.
I don't know, but usually we've done pretty good with visa signings. They've been a good price, and they've been smart. We've not gone out and I don't know if you remember a few years ago, Perth Glory, their men's team signed Daniel Sturridge, who was like a massive star, right? Played for, was it Liverpool? Played in the England national team, and he was a total flop. He only played like a handful of games. He was injured the whole time. He didn't want to do press. There've been so many like marquee flops and visa signing flops. I think that the club does a really good job of its research, and I think that's going to pan out for the women's team as well.
Yeah, and you can add Nani to that. Last season with Melbourne Victory, got injured pretty much straight away, did nothing. And Brisbane Roar signed some striker. I've forgotten what his name is. Charlie Austin, that's the one.
He was pretty good.
He cut his contract short, didn't he?
He did, for personal reasons. Yeah, look, I mean, I think we've done a good job.
Yeah,
we're not signing big names, but we're signing really solid people like Crave, people like Savada. And like I said, I think the women will be going in the same direction with not big name signings, smart signings.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like the language that they speak, because Jan Sassi didn't speak a word of English when he came to Wellington Phoenix. And I think that would kind of help you, or kind of push you back, hold you back a bit. If I went to, Spain and I don't speak a word of Spanish, I think that would, I don't think I'd be playing the best I could. But it's just kind of the thing that...
help.
Yeah.
That's got to help. I mean, because they've had this has been the thing with, there have been some Chinese players in the dub over the last few seasons. There was one that went to Canberra and went home very quickly because she was massively struggling, and I think the language barrier was one. But now you've got Ergamal at Central Coast Mariners, who's absolutely thriving. So it could be more than that. I mean, you're travelling overseas, you might be leaving family behind. The weather's different, and this is different, and the food is different, and whatnot. So it is a struggle for people to adapt, I'm sure, but the linguistic barrier has got to be a big issue.
Yeah, and the red card on debut for Sassi, Sure, that did him no favors.
Oh, that did not help. Yeah.
And he was without his wife and kids for a while. Sorry, we can just keep on having reasons.
Look at these, but this is the same issue that faces the women's game, except the women are being paid even less.
Yeah.
So, if you were on a man's salary, especially like a foreigner salary, you might not be getting massive money, but you're getting enough money that you can probably support your family coming over.
Let's bring it home. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Holly, for your thoughts and giggles tonight. And we'll see you next time on the Flight of the Knicks. Have a great day, great night, whenever you're watching it. Great morning. Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.